Hello and welcome to another Glenn Maney Talks Chelsea, and last night it was Chelsea 1, Everton 1. I'll tell you what it has done, it's absolutely got the fan base biting at each other. Um, if you're a Neanderthal like me and you've seen Chelsea for 50 odd years, we're getting some stick this morning. What can I say? It is what it is. You can't help when you're born, and you can't help where you're born. You can't really help what football club you end up following. And I think the only thing that older fans have got over the younger ones is that we do realise that we haven't got a divine right to win everything. We do realise that we've got a history where we didn't win an awful lot. Although that in itself gave us a history, gave us a spirit. And so all this biting and nibbling, in between age groups, sections of the fans that are divided by other things, it's crazy, absolutely crazy this morning. We all want the team to do well. Some of us look at support in a different way. And when I say support, I don't mean to say you've got to go to all the games. I don't go to all the games. I live up in Glasgow now. I used to go to all the games, but I don't anymore. It doesn't make me any less of a Chelsea fan. And when I go to the 10 games I go to a year maybe, I'm just as excited as I was when I was a kid first going back in the late 60s. But if you support Chelsea and you support them and you're loyal to them and you support them through thick and thin, it doesn't matter if you go to the games, if you live in Nigeria or if you live in Fulham Road, you're a Chelsea supporter as far as I'm concerned. Again, other people have got their views. And again, we're all entitled to our views. I do have a go at people. I call them cabbages, I do. If after one or two poor games people are shouting for the manager's head, for the player who was man of the match the game before has a stinker, get him out the club, I do have a go at people like that, the knee jerkers. But I do that in life. I might not be right. Perhaps it's me that needs liquidation. Anyway, it's a shame to see the fan base nibbling at each other like that. That's all I'm saying. You might not agree. You might think it's fantastic. You think, ideally, I'd like a world war as well. I want loads of people giving loads of other people aggro. I don't know. There'll be someone out there that thinks like that. But I don't. I just think it's a shame. Anyway, back to last night. What can I say really? Because I've seen people saying that we were a shambles, we were shocking, we were probably the worst football team ever seen on a football pitch for that 90 minutes last night. And I have to be honest with you folks, and I'm sure a lot will disagree with me, but I thought we were pretty damn good, apart from the abysmal finishing. But the rest of it, when you think we didn't have, 7 players we had out last night, either with injury or COVID. And Kai Havertz got COVID again. He was off with COVID, wasn't he? These PCR tests. I do wonder. I'll be honest. So yeah, Lukaku and Havertz were missing. So we didn't have an awful, and I presume Werner, or is Werner still injured? I don't know. But yeah, they were all not available for one reason or another. I'm sure you'll tell me why. And so it was what it was. We put a team out there which was still a good enough team to beat a very depleted Everton side. And I think the fact that we had 81% of possession over the whole game to their 29, the fact that we had 23 shots on goal, 10 of which were on target, they had 2 shots on goal, 1 on target, and we drew 1-1. Pretty well sums up that game. We dominated. We dominated, and not only someone again on social media said we didn't have any shots on goal. What game were they watching? Because it was a totally different game to me. We had loads of shots on goal. The problem was that last night we couldn't hit a barn door. It was shocking. It was shocking. Good goal by Mason Mount. But again, Mason missed a sitter that you'd expect him to put away. Reece James, when Reece James was through 5-6 yards out, I thought he's going to break the net, put it wide. Ziyech could have had 2. Jorginho could have had 2. We were absolutely abysmal in front of goal, and that was the story of the game. Everton, very depleted, very poor side. If they don't get players back quick, they're in a relegation battle. They worked hard. I'll tell you what, they worked hard. But so did our boys. Our boys worked hard. We moved the ball well. It was a good tempo. I can't fault the build-up play. I can't fault the effort that was put into that last night. All I can fault was the finishing, which, as we've said before, was shocking. Sometimes you get games like that, but we seem to have more than most, don't we? We had that problem under Lampard, and we've got it now. I would say, if we really, really, really want a challenge, I'd personally break the bank in the summer for Haaland. I would. I'd break the bank for Haaland. I know we'll be selling some players anyway. I know some players will be off the wage bill. I'd break the bank for Haaland. Just a natural finisher. We've been talking about, would it be a good idea for Eden Hazard to return for 40 million? 30 years old, nearly 31. Yeah, it would be for 40 million. Because last night, 20 minutes to go, who would you want on that pitch? Would you want to be bringing Saul Niguez on, who I have to say did nothing? One he should have scored and didn't even hit the target. And don't get me wrong, I've been a big advocate of this guy in the past when he was at Atletico Madrid, but something's happened to him. He just lost it. My one criticism of Tuchel last night was, why bring him on? Why bring him on? I would have probably brought on Kante for a few minutes and stuck either Ross Barkley or Ruben Loftus-Cheek up there. Both know where the goal is, and they're both big physical presences, in the box. But yeah, I thought myself that there is no argument if you can get Hazard back for games like that. That's how we beat these sides. That's how we beat these sides a couple of years back. We didn't realise what we had with Hazard, I don't think. So you don't realise what you've got until you've lost it. And for me, and again, a load of you would disagree, and I know, and I respect your views, but for me, it's a no-brainer at 40 million if that is the case. So yeah, we were abysmal in front of goal. We dominated the game. There's no way Everton should have got anything out of that. But you know what? I'd be more downhearted if we were playing really, really poorly. I mean, when I look back at that Watford game that we won, I thought we were shocking in that game. Absolutely shocking. But we managed to scrape a win. But if we were playing like that, I'd be thinking, but we're not. We're playing well. We're just not finishing. So I think we all ought to calm down a bit. All ought to think, well, look, we're still 9 points clear of the 4th place team, which we are. Realise that if we beat City and beat Liverpool, which we are capable of, with a full team on our day, right up on it, we can beat any of this lot. So it's not all doom and gloom. Right, so last night we had Mendy in goal. We had Aspie, Thiago Silva, and Anthony Rudiger as centre halves. At right wing back we had Reece James. Left wing back we had Marco Alonso. In the middle we had Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Jorginho. In front of them we had Mason Mount on the right and Ziyech on the left, and we had Christian Pulisic playing as centre forward. The team was pretty well picked itself because of the injuries, and I can tell, I can see why they won't want to rush N'Golo back, and same with Trevor Chabala. But I don't think that they would have affected the game unduly, because we controlled that game. Apart from one moment when an excellent ball was put in, Saul Niguez moved off of his man. If you watch that again, I've watched it twice now. He moves off of his man, he jumps, and the bloke that puts it in is the bloke that he should be marking. So when they analyse that, it is a mistake. They brought Saul on to play up front, but he's got to do his defensive duties better than he did that last night, and that used to be one of his strengths. It used to be one of his strengths. So yes, last night, I'll go through the scores. Mendy gets a 7, couldn't do anything about the goal. Had me heart in my mouth once when he was dribbling with a ball, but generally distribution a lot better last night, and cleared it when he needed to. Didn't have an awful lot to do. Reece James last night definitely should have scored 1, maybe should have scored 2. He gets a 7.5. Did okay. Aspie, I don't know, he was a bit flat last night. Did you? I don't know if you thought the same thing, but for me he was a bit flat. Aspie gets a 7 from me. Thiago Silva gets a 7.5. Marshalled defence superbly, although they weren't under a lot of pressure when they were. He seemed to play the right ball. Could have scored, but didn't. Rudiger gets a 7.5. Couple of runs forward. One of them reminded me of Forrest Gump. I think he'd still be running if the stand hadn't been there. But did a decent job. Nice and enthusiastic. Could have scored. Didn't. He gets a 7.5. Marco Alonso gets a 6. Why he is intent on cutting back all the time and not putting a ball across is beyond me. I just don't know what's gone wrong with him from the start of the season. Maybe when he first come back I would have said his lack of minutes, but just not on his game at the minute. Simple as that. I don't think he's that off form that he needs to be taken off for Saul Niguez to come on. I don't think anyone's ever going to be that off form, but he's off form. Ruben Loftus-Cheek gets a 7. Hard working game. I'm torn on Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Sometimes I think he's good enough for the Chelsea midfield, and other times I'm not so sure. I don't think being given so many defensive duties suits his game. Maybe stunting him a bit. So I'll reserve any criticism. Jorginho played okay last night. Gets a 7. Should have scored. Generally quite positive though. Put a couple of decent balls through. Decent game. Mason Mount is my man of the match last night. I'll give him Mason Mount an 8.5. Should have scored a sitter. Scored 1. Maybe should have scored another one as well. So could have had a hat-trick last night. But his all-round play, his work rate, making himself available, taking players with him, superb. 8.5, my man of the match. Ziyech last night gets a 7.5. I thought he had a half-decent game. Yeah, he should have scored, like most of the Chelsea team. He should have scored. And there's one really infuriating moment when he went for a worldie. He tried bending it in the top right hand corner past Pickford, and Mason Mount was in acres of free space. If he'd played the ball across, it was practically a tap-in. But he didn't. He went for... I wonder about his decision making at times, I do. But he worked hard last night. One of my big criticisms of Ziyech has been lack of work rate. No such thing last night. He was right up for it, worked hard. So well done, Hakim. Nice to see you like that. And finally, Pulisic last night should have scored like the rest of the team. I think it's pretty well documented that he needs a few games when he's been out to get up and going again, and that's what he looked like last night. Lots of hard work, looked a little bit off the pace to me. Still should have scored, but there we go. Not sure if he's all that happy at the minute, you know. It just his body language. So yeah, that's the team. I'm not going to go through the substitutes. Didn't have to make a lot of difference because we were dominating the game. We were bossing it. But you can boss a game as much as you want. If you can't score, you're cream cracker, don't you? Tuchel, I'll give Tuchel an 8. He can't make sure that our forwards poke the ball in the net. He did everything he could, really. I don't know about the Sol Niguez coming on. Couldn't see the point in that, I'll be honest. But the rest of it, he did what he saw. Alonso kept cutting back, wasn't really doing that great down that left-hand side, so I can see why he made a change. But Niguez playing up front, I just couldn't see it. Like I say, I'd have probably thought a midfielder would have come on, and we would have pushed Ruben Loftus-Cheek up there. That would have been the my thoughts on the matter. But what do I know? That's why I don't get paid the big bucks, I guess. So yeah, that was last night. Game of total domination where we couldn't hit a barn door. Not worth everyone being deflated. Not worth everyone getting at everyone else. I like to see young supporters, and when I say young, I mean I was talking to some lads in the pub. I suppose they were 25, 30, and before, what game was it? The Man United game, and they were a great bunch of lads, proper supporters. And you're going to get proper supporters of all age groups, right the way down to 6 and 7. The little lads crying when, and the lasses crying when Chelsea lose. Like I think I was at one particular time. It was when we was behind in the FA Cup final, 1970. But it's not worth the fan base having a go at each other. And we are all entitled to our opinions. I know I have a go at the Cabbages, because I think knee-jerk reactions are a bit annoying, but again, just my opinion. Right, well, thanks for watching. I hope you subscribe to the channel and throw a like, because it does help me apparently. I don't know how. And for the 2 or 3 of you who regularly watch these, thanks very much for your time. Let's hear what you think, because that's why I do them. Up to Chelsea.